No one is 100% certain about what the flat Earth looks like, but the azimuthal equidistant projection map that is used by the USGS is the flat Earth map. The United Nations, oddly enough, uses the flat Earth map as its logo and divides it into 33 Masonic sections. The Gleason's map is also used as a representation of the flat Earth. On the flat Earth map, North is in the center, while South, or Antarctica, is surrounding Earth with the continents and oceans inside. Mercator's map from 1569 is also a flat Earth map showing a magnetic mountain in the north with 4 continents surrounding it. The ancients had their own depictions of a flat Earth. Who's to say there is an edge? Most people's first reaction to flat Earth is that there must be an edge, but is that because of how it is presented to us? On the current flat Earth model, there is no edge, but rather a 360-degree wall of ice surrounding Earth holding the oceans in. Again, no one is 100% certain that this ice wall exists, because for more than 50 years, there has existed an international Antarctic treaty stating that no civilian can travel there without government approval. There are pre-approved guide tours that exist, but they only go to coastal regions. Jarl Andhoi was arrested and fined when he traveled to Antarctica without permission. We do have many pictures of the ice wall, but due to the treaty, we are restricted from going down there. On the flat Earth model, the sun circles over the Earth in a clockwise manner and fades off into the vanishing point of perspective, or the horizon. The sun does not actually sink to the ground, but rather it gets further and further away until the observer can no longer see it. The sun is not 93 million miles away, as modern astronomers claim, but it is obviously closer and smaller. The sun only gives light to about half of the plane, while the other half is night. Although there has been much debate about this in the community, I think we can all agree that it is the sun circling above us, not the other way around. Ships do not disappear over the horizon, but rather they disappear into the horizon, with the vanishing point of perspective. The argument of ships going over the curve can be easily debunked by using telescopes, binoculars, and good zoom cameras to bring ships back into view of the observer. No matter how good the zoom is on the camera, ships will never be able to be brought back into view if they went over the curve. This is proof that the ship only appeared to disappear because of vision and perspective, not the curve. Just because the Earth is flat, that does not mean that your eyesight is infinite. The human eye can only see a certain amount of distance on a clear day, and even less on a cloudy day. It would be impossible to see across an entire ocean because the human eye cannot see that far. It has everything to do with perspective and nothing to do with the curvature of the Earth. On the flat Earth model, circumnavigation simply means traveling east to west. If you go east for long enough, you will end up back where you started, and the same goes for west. Ferdinand Magellan's journey, which was credited as the first circumnavigation of Earth, just circled from east to west around the flat Earth. This doesn't prove that the Earth is flat or spherical, because it can work for both models. On the Red Bull dive from 128,000 feet, you can notice that the outside cameras are wide-angle lenses, while the inside cameras are not. In other words, the outside cameras have added curvature, but the inside cameras show a flat plane through the window. Not only that, but he lifted off from New Mexico, where already the curvature from the cameras started early on, and all we see in the view is New Mexico. Either the whole Earth is New Mexico, or it is a wide-angle lens. Notice how the Earth isn't spinning either. This question is not possible to be answered because no human being knows what is underneath the Earth. The farthest any human being has ever dug is 8 miles, so not even heliocentrists know what's inside the Earth. When people think of a flat Earth, they think of a disk in outer space, but the whole concept of outer space is ludicrous with the baller theory. Many ancient cultures across the plain support the notion of Earth being held upon pillars, but the fact of the matter is, no one can ever know for sure what is beneath the Earth. No, on the flat Earth model, the Earth is stationary and is motionless. Earth is sitting still beneath our feet, and it is actually the celestial bodies, such as the sun, moon, and stars, that revolve around us. No one has ever, can ever, and will never experience motion from the Earth, which is astonishing because mainstream science says that the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles per hour while hurtling 67,000 miles per hour around the sun, with the solar system shooting 500,000 miles per hour through the Milky Way, while traveling 670 million miles an hour through space. Yet we can feel none of this? It might sound crazy at first, but satellites do not exist. NASA claims to have satellites, space stations, and telescopes out in outer space, sending back fake CGI images and videos for everyone to eat up. The truth is, however, these are all hoaxes, and that explains all of the terrible CGI editing we receive. Just think about it. If there are really over 10,000 satellites orbiting Earth as we speak right now, then why can't we see any pass in front of the moon? Not even small specks. The concept of satellites was originally created by a Freemason science fiction writer named Arthur C. Clarke in a magazine titled Wireless World in 1945. There are thousands of miles of fiber optic cables in the oceans that supply up to 90% of communication, internet, and phones on Earth. GPS runs off ground-based cell towers. Satellite TV dishes, which existed before satellites, are almost always aimed at a 45-degree angle directly towards the nearest cell tower. NASA has been caught using camera trickery with the ISS space footage and using multiple green screen effects with astronauts in harnesses to fake the appearance of zero gravity. Bubbles have been caught floating near astronauts, and NASA even admits that they do training in underwater facilities. The moon only appears to be upside down because the observer is viewing it from a different angle in the southern part of Earth than the observer in the northern part of Earth. They're simply just seeing it from an opposite angle. Ancients portrayed the moon as rotating across the sky, almost like a wheel, and there are some pictures people have taken of this happening. The pictures we see from NASA of Earth from space are badly photoshopped. It is so obvious that even they admit to photoshopping the cartoons, such as data visualizer and designer Robert Simon, who once said, "It is photoshopped, but it has to be." This only proves that these blue marble images are not real, but fake cartoons that NASA has given the public. After analyzing many of the images, you can see that there are duplicated cloud patterns, and in one of the recent releases, they spelled the word sex into one of the clouds. The oceans aren't even the same color. Neil deGrasse Tyson said that the Earth is an oblate spheroid, or pear-shaped as he likes to call it. But this contradicts the images NASA has of a perfect spherical Earth. There are no pictures of Earth from space, but fake photoshops that we've believed are real. The light of the moon is totally different than that of the sun. The effects it has on plants and food is different, and even the temperature is different. In the sunlight, the shade is always cooler than the sunlight itself. However, in the moonlight, it is cooler, while in the shade it is warmer. The moonlight couldn't be reflecting the sun's light, because then it would have the same effects in temperature, but it appears the moon is emitting its own light, and is translucent. The phases are a function of the moon, and it is not a spherical ball of rock reflecting sunlight as we are told, but rather is a transparent, self-luminous disk. If the moon were a sphere, then we should be able to see the other side along with different faces, yet we see only one side. Not only that, but many people have taken images of the moon with stars being seen through it, and in the afternoon, you can see the blue sky right through the moon. Just look at these Muslim and Freemasonic depictions of the moon with the stars shining through it. Yes and no. It is obvious that there are lights in the sky revolving above our heads called stars, but the mainstream version of what we believe about outer space is simply not true.